Hello, everyone. My name is Constable Danny McKinnon, Winnipeg Police Public Information Office. Thank you if you're joining us here in person or virtually online. I have one matter to release on today, but before that, I will begin with our land acknowledgement. I'd like to acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. Also like to provide a content warning. I know there's a written one here, but for anybody who's tuning in live on Facebook, this media release does contain some sensitive information dealing with child abuse matters, and please take caution in following along. On November 27th, yesterday around 1:30 p.m., officers from the East District responded to an elementary school in the St. Vital area. There was a report of an adult stranger who had entered the school building and confronted a child. The school was immediately placed in a hold and secure. An initial investigation between the school administration as well as the police determined that once inside the school, the suspect had hid in a washroom stall. This was a children's bathroom, by the way. When a student exited an adjacent stall that they were using, the man grabbed hold of the child. The child fought back and managed to break free from the suspect, ran to a teacher, and made a report. They were not physically injured and did not require any medical follow-up. The suspect fled the scene. A witness who was out front in the area, very eagle-eyed, saw this suspicious man run away and followed him, and it led to a mall in the 1200 block of St. Mary's Road. Now, police at the same time had been notified of the incident, knew that the suspect was following, and very keenly ahead made arrangements with the mall, and security was of great assistance. They learned that the individual had entered the mall and then subsequently exited, and he was taken into custody in the parking lot. The child abuse unit took over the investigation, and a 28-year-old man, Scott William George, has been charged with the following offenses: assault, forcible confinement, and failed to comply with prohibition order regarding children ×2. He's been detained in custody. And as a reminder, the Winnipeg Police Service encourages parents and caregivers to continue talking to your children about safety and the power of see something, say something. That's exactly what happened yesterday. And we've included some resources such as the Winnipeg Police Service website, cybertip.ca, our victim services phone number. And lastly, this investigation is continuing. If anyone wishes to speak to an investigator, they may call the Child Abuse Unit, 204-986-3296. You can also make an anonymous report if you would like to on Crime Stoppers, 204-786-TIPS, or use the winnipegcrimestoppers.org link. In case of any emergency situation, of course, call 911. I can take a few questions, but before I do that, I will specify that we will not identify the school name here. I will not identify the child's age or gender as well.
Danny, can you tell us anything about the suspect in this case? We see that he's got two failed to comply with previous prohibition involving children. Was he known to police? What does his record look like to your knowledge?
So I'm not able to go into his record. I can say that, yes, he was known to police, but also you've picked up on the fact that, yes, this is a prohibition order, which means it's something that's already been issued by the courts for a previous offense, which I can't talk about, but ×2. And that's because these orders deal with not having contact with children or being in spaces where children would generally be assumed to be.
Have you spoken to the victim's parents at all? How do they feel, and what's their thought process with all this?
Yeah, so our child investigations unit, the child abuse unit, has been working with the family.
Do we know if this suspect had any connection to the school? Has that been uncovered by investigators at this point?
No, he was a complete stranger who entered the school and hid in the bathroom.
Was the victim, in that case, was the victim and the suspect known to each other?
No.
Okay.
At schools, do you know, is it school to school, or doors locked, are they kept open during the day? What's safety protocol?
So any school protocol in terms of safety, you'll have to get in contact with the school division. This particular school falls under the Louis Riel School Division. It wouldn't be prudent for me to speak on their processes.
Just from a police standpoint, from what you understand so far, how was this person able to get into the school in this kind of fashion?
Again, those are pieces that will go before the courts, but those are also, I believe, pieces that are prejudiciary that the school would be the best resource to answer to.
In the media release, it doesn't mention that how the school administration or the police got into aware that the suspect entered the school. What was the process here? How did they realize that this person was in the bathroom?
Well, okay, very good. So the release indicates that the child broke free and ran back to a classroom and reported to a teacher. So that firsthand information would have come from the child victim.
Can you tell us a bit about the witness in this case, Danny? Was this somebody associated with the school, or just kind of a good Samaritan who happened to be passing by?
I honestly don't have the very specific connection. I do believe that they had a loose connection with the school, and from what I've learned, it sounds like they just happened to be at the right place at the right time and saw somebody exiting the school and believed that this individual was suspicious and did their own follow-up. And like I said, they may or may not have had some contact with an individual school member. I don't know. I don't want to assume. But I will say that is some really proactive, excellent work. I mean, they weren't in danger because this person was on foot and they were in a vehicle, and the police were contacted and they worked together and found this person really quickly, because we know that when a suspect is keen to get away, and they can very quickly, with some time, hop on a bus, as we know, go into a residence. There's a number of businesses that they could quickly jump into. So this was just very proactive on everybody's part.
So is this individual outside of school, did they also make contact with 911?
I don't know.
Do you know if there was anything, this suspect, that made them appear suspicious? Were they wearing a mask? Obviously, they were running out of the school. Just wondering if there was anything like that that might have tipped this kind of witness off that, okay, something's wrong here.
Again, I'm not holding anything back. I really don't know the connection. I know that there was a loose connection with school, and whether it was they knew the administration, or I don't think it was a parent. They saw an individual exiting the school, and that person did not belong in that school. It was pretty obvious.
Has this man ever been involved in an incident like this within a school before?
Again, I talked at the beginning, we don't talk about the specific details of past investigations or past convictions. We know that this person, obviously, based on the court order, has had some type of criminal background involving children to have had this prohibition order. But I can't speak to background on any other offenses
You mentioned.
or investigations.
You mentioned that the school administration notified the police after they were notified by the child. What was the response time in terms of the officers arriving to the school?
I understand it was very quick.
Do we have like a?
No.
The suspect was taken into custody outside of the mall in the parking lot. Was it security from the mall who initially apprehended this suspect, or was it police who?
I don't believe so. I believe police apprehended him. The aspect that security was involved in was, checking the interior of the mall, looking for the suspect, which had a description provided, and they did a very good job at liaising with police quickly.
Do you have an idea about a motive? Why would this suspect do this?
Yeah, that's a great question, but that's not something that I'm available to or willing to touch on. Those are facts that have to go before the courts. At the end of the day, this is a very disturbing incident. The light at the end of the tunnel is nothing happened to this child physically in terms of harm, thank God. And what a brave student, because as we know, under these type of stress situations, you can react with fight, flight, freeze. All of them are appropriate. All of them are different for people under different circumstances. But this child fought their way out and quickly made a report. And here we are today. This person is in custody and did not have an opportunity to harm anybody else.
This man has a long court record, including sexual interference. You mentioned he was known to police, but was he monitored in the community at all?
I can't speak to that.
You mentioned the media release says the school was placed in hold and secure, and officers responded around 1:30 p.m. When was the hold and secure lifted?
I don't know. Yeah, so just so you're aware, the hold and secure protocols or the lockdown, those are school protocols and procedures. Those are not initiated by the police. So you would have to, again, reach out to them to get the specific times on that. I will say that that was not lifted, from my understanding, until police were there, cleared the school, made sure there was no longer a threat to the school or the community.
Just for members of the public who might be watching and don't understand what fail to comply with prohibition regarding children means, are you able to explain that?
I can give a very brief, high-level overview. It means somebody has been involved with a previous offense where a judge has issued a subsequent court order upon their release or upon their time that they've done in custody, and this is all anecdotal, and their offense had to do with a child offense. So this means this is a preventative tool, a very high-level preventative tool that says you're not allowed to be around kids. Sometimes they have a certain age, under 16 or 14, again, depending on the victim's age. I don't know the specifics of this one. It just in a nutshell means this person has had previous child offenses.
If a parent's gonna be watching this, maybe concerned about their own child's, I don't know, what advice would you give to parents on how to put preventative measures in place? I know obviously schools have measures in place, but just curious on that.
Well, whatever parent or schools or combination of both provided to this child, they did a great job. And it's just always open communication, open education, prevention, do little trial runs. At the end of the day, if something looks wrong, feels wrong, fight your way out of it. Talk to a safe adult. This safe adult happened to be down the hall in the child's classroom, thankfully.
Danny, I'm not sure if you'll have an answer to this, but do we have any idea what the suspect did when they were inside the mall?
No.
If they were
No,
shopping or this was an attempt to kind of.
I don't think they were there very long.
The suspect didn't have any weapons.
No, there's no weapons charges.
No other children were impacted.
No. Any final questions?
Out of curiosity, did the school have a school resources officer at the time, or is that school just does not have a school resources officer?
Yeah, this school division doesn't utilize the SRO program. Anything else? Thank you very